we're going to use this last segment to talk to Nadine on some issues that she raised earlier about women. Arnold, were you here when Nadine was presenting before?
No, I actually missed that section. Remember I
Oh,
had I had two other meetings in between. So
right. So she
yes.
she brought up some questions, and because when she made her presentation, we were running back to back with the presenters. We weren't able to do the QA
Mhm.
section, so I had to ask her to come back here so we can do that. So can we just spend like maybe the next half an hour to look at some of these questions that she had, and I don't know if some of these guys who wanted to perform if they'll make it back here, but we just play that by ear. But let's do this half hour with Nadine. Nadine, it's Nadine. I wonder if she went to sleep.
I'm
No,
not sure.
she on.
I think she's there.
Just remind us of a few of the questions that you were asking in your presentation that we need to answer. I remember one thing, two things that stood out in my mind. One is that once you had your menstrual cycle, it was a big problem for school because you'd be missing school days because you're sick, and they could end up in hospital or whatever. And two, this gripping story that you mentioned, and I noticed you mentioned it just kind of really casually, but what a serious thing that you were in a bus that was so packed that you damaged your kidney.
Right.
Arnold, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Wow. I that
Tell
no,
us how
that's
extensive that
scary.
injury was. From riding in a bus, not an accident. People up on her so much that the child damaged her kidney.
Wow.
Mhm. That happened going to Black River from Kilmarnock. Yeah, because of transportation issues. And so I was raising the issue of transportation. Remember, the
Hmm.
state doesn't provide transportation for people in our part of the woods, rural Jamaica. People have to rely on private transportation. And what that does, the kind of vulnerabilities you are then exposed to when you have to rely on private transportation. And of course, what I was saying about menstruation and about menopause and all issues that women raise is that they become, because they are experienced by half of the population, we should have public conversations about them. They shouldn't be
Yes.
kept in secret. Women's realities should also become public so that we make policies and make legislation and build programs and institutions that help women to negotiate the challenges they face.
Mm.
Wow. And she was
Hmm.
she was even mentioning that there are some girls who don't go to school because they don't have pads.
Right.
Yeah, because
And
period poverty is a real issue. You know,
yes.
there are there are girls in Newmarket who will not go to school because when they're having their period, they cannot afford to go buy a pad. And usually it's not just one pad you need two or three.
And especially if they have heavy flows.
And if they have
Mm.
heavy flows. So how do
Y-
mothers who have two or three daughters who are in puberty or whenever, the mother herself, how do you negotiate buying pads so that you can get on with the business of the day? You know, we don't think about those things, but those are some of the considerations that people have to make
Those are
on a day.
Wow.
serious issues.
I remember someone posting, and this is something that you probably would have seen, both of you. But someone posted something that says, something, that there's something wrong with society when condoms are given away free by government, and sanitary napkins have to be bought.
Yeah,
And tax too, there's a
When
penalty. There's a penalty, they're taxed.
what?
They're taxed.
this is
We
this is
don't pay attention, we just buy them, but they're taxed.
this is so gripping, and this is not something that women can do without for years and years and years.
That's what I'm saying. Public conversation should be had about these things so that our legislators and the people who make policy know that, we need action around these things. Period poverty is real. Should high schools have access to pads so that girls who don't have access to
Can't
pads,
afford it. Mhm.
yeah, can have it. Yeah, so they have,
Yeah,
right.
I think this calls for a full program with
Mhm.
some of
Lord
the
have mercy, this took my breath away. No,
yes.
this
Path
Yes.
program, right. Like path program, for example, gives parents more money for boys than girls. But
really?
it doesn't take into
Wha-
consideration that when a girl hits puberty,
How?
she's more expensive to her mother.
Hmm.
No, sir, we have to keep stirring up this pot here. You know,
I've never heard that one.
we need to
Yes,
keep
More
stirring up
money
this
for
pot.
boys than girls?
it does give more money for a boy than it does a girl.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Right.
I'd be
Yeah.
yes, I'd
And
be
then,
interested in a program like this because I that's one of the questions I would want an answer for. I would like to understand why because there has to be
that's
there
everyone.
has to be a real reason that is not obvious to us why something like that should be that way.
That's it. Boys are more expensive. Because they say boys are more expensive, male clothes more expensive, boys eat more. Those are the kind of biases that are built into the system for boys, but they're not automatically built into
Okay.
the system for girls.
Oh, I
So
tell
your
you,
question was women's lives matters.
yeah.
When a woman hits, I soon leave now because my phone is dying as well. But when a woman hits menopause. Like just think about this section of St. Elizabeth. Are women getting mammograms? Are women getting
We just
um
introducing a program for free mammogram there in St. Elizabeth.
yeah. Are they getting what's pap smears? And are those issues being addressed? Because women need those things when they hit their 40s, the chances of cancer, of different kinds of cancer increase. And a lot of, if we did a study, we might find that the death toll from cervical cancer and other lifestyle diseases increase in rural Jamaica because of people's access to preventative health care. That's an important issue for us to talk about.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah,
girl,
there has to be a program specifically, to deal with those issues because there are many questions
but
that you and I can't answer.
this is why Arnold, I keep saying in my program, you ladies and gentlemen, but I'm saying ladies first, you have a voice and you need to use your voice.
Hmm.
Because I noticed that the ladies in the area are not using their voices.
Yes, not
They're
speaking
not
out.
speaking out, and they just get rolled over and mowed over because they're not using their voices. And Shane says about the voice, just make sure you're using it positively. We need to use our voices to get change,
Hmm.
not whisper about people or carry down people. You need to discuss issues and issues that affect you as a community so you can get changes. If you're only advocating for yourself, you're not doing a good job. What about the people beside you? If they go downhill
Hmm.
and and thieves start to break in next door, how long do you think it is going to be before they're breaking over by you? So we have to use our voices. And these issues that Nadine raised. Oh my God. I personally had a problem with cramps all my life. But even jobs, I was lucky when I had that. I would just call my work and tell them that I'm sick, and they wouldn't even ask me any question. Especially my male bosses, they're not asking me no question because they know every month I'm gonna be out at least one day every month. And so I totally understand that kind of seriousness of people being sick, and they're not, and something though, I suffered like that in Jamaica and couldn't go to work. Once I came to the United States to live, I had to find a way to make sure I get to work, right? So I started out not going, and then I had to find a way to fix that problem so I could get to work. So it is not that the problem that these young ladies are having cannot be fixed. It's that people don't care enough.
Exactly, exactly. We don't care enough to
Mhm.
help young women to find solution to reproductive issues. And that is what is going to fill the lifetime of a woman who is in reproductive age, issues related to period, issues related to pains associated. It's biological. I was when I came to UA, when I was going to, as I said, when I was going to Black, I was sick every month. I had to miss school. But we don't have public policy that accounts for this, and we don't have medical intervention that takes this into consideration. The doctors just said, "Oh, it's period cramps. Give her some pain."
It's normal.
Later on, I discovered that I had endometriosis. This affected everything about my life.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah. So that is the story. Gentlemen, you have anything to add to that? Or you all look like you're in shock.
Um,
We're learning.
probably, probably a question and comments last question. I know when
Yeah.
you say school should hand out, that seems as if it's an added piece of
Huh?
work.
When you said what?
School should hand out and sanitary napkins.
It's not a matter of handing out though. It's just making it available because they would go to the office or wherever because they're not going to have these in classroom giving out. They're going to be more discreet or private about it, but there should be supplies there at the school that if the young ladies need it, they can get it. That happens here in America. You know, there's supply. There's always supply. So there should be no scarcity of that. So if that child's mother can only afford, say she have two daughters or so, and she can only afford one pack for the month, at least the girl who's going to school, she can get an extra one at school. You know, so the pack won't finish that quickly. So because it helps. It helps that when they're at school, they have that extra protection because they can get it from the school.
Um, some of the other issues that Ms. Spence raised, I'm thinking that if we have a better family structure, then some of those issues will be dealt with within the family.
I better what you thinking?
A family structure where it is possible for issues to be dealt with and fleshed out, and conversations can be had about issues. So when mothers are raising their girls and raising their boys, they are empowered, they are in such a position that they can have dialogue or conversations on the various issues, whether it's physical or emotional or whatever, that their child or children face. So it is dealt with at that micro level where it can be better managed because you know the child, you created the child, or the family created this. So whatever it is that this child is going through, whether it's physical, emotionally, or whatever, you it started right at that micro level. So families are empowered so that they can deal with this, and where they cannot manage, then it comes over to the secondary institutions such as school or church or the clinic or the hospitals, etc.
Right.
What I find is, and I think this is a social cultural issue, that is why that the school hasn't turned out that well for a lot of us, because a lot was left up to the school to do.
What do you think, Arno?
Yeah,
And the
I
school
think
wasn't
though
able to do it at
we
all.
uh-huh. Yeah, while I want to agree, um, if you think I want to think a little further than that because there are some families where, put it this way, if you can find three sets of cousins, there might not be one family household that is better off than the other to help. So even though the conversation takes place, there are situations where in reality, the best that others can do is to sympathize and to empathize, because at the end of the day, they also need the same kind of help. So they might be in the same, they're all in the same boat. And in such cases, I'm thinking that with more awareness, what what I see happening is, what I'm thinking of as part of a solution is that, in the same way that we would reach out to help with school meals or even to fix a bathroom in the school, I believe that this is just as important. So those of us who are in a position to help and to reach out in to the school system, it seems to me though that it might be because it's a topic that some people are just not comfortable talking about, why there might not be so much action in that area.
This event is sponsored by Ev McLilly Teas. Visit evmclillyteas.com for the finest teas and herbal teas sourced from mainly small organic farms all over the world. Visit evmclilly.com for your purchases or WhatsApp 347-995-6556.
But the reality that we face is that a lot of our families aren't empowered to actually deal with these issues. So at some point, though, probably through the curriculum, I noticed some things coming out of the Ministry of Education. Probably through the curriculum, we would have to start teaching life skills. I see where they say that students leaving school should be able to drive going forward to reduce accidents on the roads. Then at this end, then we need to start teaching our students how to deal with life, because adulting is serious business. Serious business. It's big time business. Bigger than some of us.
Shane, while I agree with you about the family, that unit, this initial thing that should happen at home, there's a financial aspect to this. I don't think any mother would choose not to give their daughter adequate protection, or letting them go to school if they could afford to do it, to buy the stuff that they need. So that's kind of the root of the matter to me, that they can't afford it. They might have to choose between buying sugar and flour or buying expensive pads, because I'm pretty sure those pads are very expensive. So it might be a choice that a parent has to make, that's not working. That's not great. Not good at all. So yeah, Arno.
Yes, and I'm happy that we have some points have come up today that would have opened some conversations that will have to continue. At some other point, bringing in the experts and those whose lives are touched by these issues that would have been raised, as we do our best to build stronger communities, stronger families, and a better country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what a day this has been. I was trying to find these musicians, but these performers, I don't know who they all disappeared to.
I think they've gone up
Yeah,
to their other functions.
went into different lives or different vibes. I know one of them had exam. Well, both of them had exam this afternoon, and that kind of threw things out with them too. The last two who were to perform. Yeah. So what a day. What would you say about this summit? What did it mean to you? I don't know what expectation you had coming into it, but was was the expectation different from what it became?
Well, for me, it was great. And although I didn't get a chance to see all the presenters, I was able to, grab something from the ones I heard. And from this morning, when um, uh, well, the
Chilling.
names, I guess. But when we spoke about the community projects and that fish project,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that
With
one, that
Ari.
one, yes,
Yeah,
with the families, they had to be going out far to do their farming or whatever, and leave the children alone and what have you. And so they started this fish project and this fish farming project, which was closer to home, and that solved more than one problems. And I just started thinking again that maybe we're going about solving problems the wrong way,
right,
and we need to think. That's the way we need to think.
right.
It's not just a matter of saying, okay, here is something that you can do. You can raise fish and make some money. But you're raising fish, you're making some money, you're getting to spend more time closer to home with the family. You don't have to leave the children exposed and all of that, by just changing one thing.
Yeah,
And again, that idea of becoming 1% better every day.
yeah,
1%. Just work on one little thing. And as a matter of fact, you don't even have to complete that one thing. Because if I'm a procrastinator, for instance, I'm not going to expect that today going into tomorrow, it will be fixed overnight. But I do one thing that will help with that today. I do another thing tomorrow. And I'm deliberate about this every day, even 1% better.
yeah. So that's it. I'm
That,
to learn today. 1%.
yes.
That's gonna stick with you.
Yes.
So some of the problems that fish project solved was they didn't have good water supply in the area. So in order to um in order to sustain the fish industry thing that they had put in, they had to get water in. I don't know if it was a dam or whatever means they had improved water supply.
That's another part of it.
And if they have improved water supply, it's going to improve the farming and it's going to improve everything else. So, it was a better thing overall. And then because all of these other things started to improve, the parents were able to stay home. So now the kids could go to school because the parents could stay closer to home
Hmm.
to take care of the kids. And then the other older ones were now able to go to school. So more people were getting education, and they're now having an industry from the fish farm to sustain themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it kind of makes me want to do that fish thing in Newmarket.
I'm seeing Newmarket as a
No,
prime. I mean, like,
we're
I'm looking at it and I'm saying, boy, you see that Two Sisters pond?
we were talking about the fish thing before, but,
Yes.
but we hadn't like kind of identified where we would want to do it, and we kind of just trying to see which projects are more priority to start with. But him outlining that just now bring home to you that really that could solve a big problem.
It's possible.
Yeah, and I know someone who went back recently and is going to do a full chicken farm,
Hmm.
and he's gonna do eggs. So and he's gonna have cold storage, so he can produce a lot of chicken and store them. And he is going to do the eggs. So that's a big
Hmm.
industry that's gonna be right there, and he's gonna be employing people. So you see, just one person can make a huge difference.
A big difference. One
Yeah,
person with a good plan. One person with a good plan. And that is important, because if you don't have the kind of plan, a workable plan,
yeah.
then it's not going to go anywhere.
That's how we're gonna build the community,
Mhm.
right? That's how we're gonna build it. And we're talking about building that sports complex. You know how many jobs that will provide? We
Mhm.
have a state of the art sports complex, and how much income, because tourists will come in there for whatever reason. We're talking about strength training. Can we have guys from Newmarket who expert in strength training? He doesn't live
Mhm.
there, but he's willing to give his service there. He doesn't have to be on the island to give service. So all of these things, once they're done, once the vision is there, and we find a way, like how Ari went to the hospital and saw that the
So
bathroom
the bathrooms.
was bad, and then he went to his friends and told them about it, and their friends knew that they alone could manage, so they started to reach out to bigger thing. They went to the museum and showed the exhibition thing and took the pictures of the condition in the hospital to use as their exhibit, so everybody could look at their shame and try to do something about
That was, yeah, that was sheer genius. And you know, as Shane said, boy, you know, all this though, we have to just ensure that the voice, yes, make sure your voice is heard, and heard in the right places. And I think that with the pictures, that was louder
loud,
than any any audible voice.
yeah, yeah. and
Yes.
and also that what we do that is good and novel, um or I was saying novel and noble together, that
Yes.
we replicate.
Yes, look at the things that work, and you don't have to go reinventing the wheel. The
Yeah,
wheel has already been invented. It's
right.
just a matter now of ensuring that you don't just copy something because it's working somewhere else without seeing whether it will fit into what
Yeah.
is happening in your community. So, once you do the study, and the most important thing, listen to the people.
Hmm.
Listen to the people. And truth is, many people might not even know how to get to where they want.
Hmm.
But the thing is, they will tell you what they want.
Hmm.
They'll tell you what they want. And sometimes it might take someone else to say, well, okay, if we just do this alone, then it might not, but then here's how we can put all this together to
Hmm.
make this happen in a sustainable way that will also support in other areas that you probably wouldn't have thought of before.
Yeah. And the power of networking, right, Sean? Shane, you had something to say?
And
Right?
it is, I'm reflecting on when we first met you, the first event that we had.
Right.
It was few of us,
Very few. Hmm.
very, very few of us. Um, did we do a live any at all?
No, we didn't. We made some recordings, but we didn't do a live.
Recording. And
Important thing was though that you guys left from Hanover to come to New
I
York.
left from Hanover, went to Kingston to meet up with Ali and all of those. Left from Kingston, come to Newmarket. I left from Newmarket back to Kingston. And
Yeah.
when Kingston is finished, come back to Hanover.
And the people in Newmarket did not show up for the thing, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
But
And the other guys were coming down from Kingston.
mhm.
You remember the young man who
Yes,
one of
yes.
the speakers, and Javen was supposed to be on this, but he had difficulty, so he couldn't come to. Javen was traveling from
Irvin
Kingston.
and Dwayne and myself and Ali.
Yeah. And this girl who was from overseas, I forget which country she was from,
Ali, Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Yes.
Those people were in Newmarket for youths, to have a conversation with youths, and the people of Newmarket were absent.
Yeah, you see, and that's the thing again. You have to ensure that people that you have buy-in. Because if folks don't see the value at the time, it is not because they're bad. It's simply that they probably just didn't get the message in the way and that is why it's important to not just have the conversation and say, hey, but show the folks how they can get involved, how they can benefit. And believe me, you are going to. And I like what is happening now. It's a different time. How long ago was that?
2 years.
Right. And so for right now,
2019.
I,
Yeah.
because what I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing where you have the buy-in.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
seeing where people in the
And,
community are now
and
seeing
this,
the value of coming together, having these conversations. Because if you let's say if you want to go, what was it again? Go alone. No, no, no. If you want to go fast, go alone. But you want to go far,
Yeah,
go together, you
right.
know. Yeah, so it's a long journey, and it's going to take a lot of work, and it would
Yeah,
take a couple of years to get some of these things done. And the only way that they will be done successfully is by collaboration,
yeah,
working together.
yeah. Well,
and keep going.
yeah,
Yes.
It
be
didn't
consistent.
stop. I mean,
Consistency.
that first time was not a high point. It was a, you know,
Shane, it wasn't that bad either
it wasn't bad.
because
It
some
wasn't
people were
bad.
there, but it could have been better.
Could have been better,
People were there,
but
and
it could have been better.
Mhm.
But to see how it has evolved, you have reached so far. You have reached more than the number of persons that were at that Saturday night. It was, yeah, the
Yeah,
other Saturday night. You have reached more since you have decided to expand your
hmm
horizon. You have reached more.
Well,
Right? And the dream as that former late senator from the United States, Kennedy, the late Ted Kennedy,
mhm,
the dream hasn't died.
mhm.
All right? You have continued with the dream and you're building out the dream.
Yeah,
And that's what we
and
need to do.
and yeah, and you know, so much of what I do has to do with my own runnings and conviction from JC's. Um, the concept of lasting world peace, I see that now as world lasting peace in the community. I really try to make sure that people consider keeping their community safe deliberately. Don't just think that it's going to automatically be safe. You have to be vigilant about keeping it. That's a crime-free area, and we have to keep it crime-free. And every one of you, you're responsible for making sure that happen. And you know your responsibility. See something, say something, act fast. Don't let criminals sit on top of you in your community, and then you are afraid to walk in your own community. And I'm so proud of the people of Newmarket, especially those up in Kilmarnock, about standing up for their community's safety, to keep it safe.
All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up now. The music people, them
Well,
bongo them,
that's fine. I mean,
and we are not into
you
music
could
like
sing. You could sing, and yeah, and we just call it a night, right?
So, guys, I want to wish you all a wonderful evening and to thank you wholeheartedly on behalf of my team for um, for giving up your time. Especially Arnold was here most of the day. I don't even think he knew that he would spend so much time here um, to make sure that this happens. We had a few little hitches along the way, but we didn't let that deter us. Apologies to the people who were trying to find us on YouTube.
Yes.
Our YouTube experience wasn't good at all until we quickly switched to Facebook, which held out. And Shane, thank you so much for rushing home to be here, and all the other presenters who did such a fine job, and the performers. Fantastic, fantastic, everyone. Arnold, do you have anything to say in closing?
Just to say congratulations to you on the work that you're doing in your community, and we hope that it will continue, and that you will continue to have the cooperation of the members of the community. And I think they've been doing well so far. And I see where not only the people who live within the community, but those who are living abroad, they are checking in, and not just checking in, but they're they're very much involved in what is happening, and that's just such a beautiful thing. And as I said to you some time ago, it's my hope that more communities across Jamaica will see the need to have these kinds of conversations as we help to build a better nation.
Well, thank you, guys. That's out for me. I have another meeting coming up in an hour.
All right.
Take good care now.
All right. God bless.
God bless.
All right.
This event is sponsored by Ev McLilly Teas. Visit evmclilyteas.com for the finest herbal teas sourced from mainly small organic farms all over the world. To make your purchase, go to evmclilly.com, that's evmclilley.com, or WhatsApp 347-995-6556. That's 347-995-6556.